For those of you who love the great outdoors, perhaps you've enjoyed the state of a forest, hiking on a trail, or stayed in a historic lodge in a national park. You can thank the young men in the Civilian Conservation Corps for planting those trees, clearing those trails, and building those lodges. Exactly what was the Civilian Conservation Corps, and who were these young men? In order to get a good picture, we have to go back to a very difficult time in American history. The Great Depression began with the stock market crash on October 29, 1929, otherwise known as Black Tuesday. This led to a third of the banks failing, and unemployment rose by 25%. Businesses began to fail, and many Americans lost their livelihood, savings, and even their homes. To relieve the sufferings of Americans, President Franklin D. Roosevelt introduced his New Deal in 1933. It included many government relief programs designed to immediately impact American families. The Civilian Conservation Corps, known as the CCC, was one of those relief programs. The CCC was voluntary and targeted unemployed, unmarried, healthy, young men ages 18 through 25. The CCC had camps all over the United States and followed a military-style schedule. Young men lived in the barracks and were paid $30 a month, $25 of which went directly home to their families. The camps also provided educational opportunities in academics and vocational skills. The young men came from a variety of backgrounds and included 200,000 African Americans and 80,000 Native Americans. The CCC kept the young men out of trouble and put them to work on various government projects. During its lifetime, the focus of the CCC was mostly on public lands. Some of these projects included maintaining roads and forest trails in national parks and forests. The CCC planted over 2 billion trees, giving them the nickname of Roosevelt's Tree Army. The CCC constructed 4,000 historic structures, 3,000 fire lookouts, and 1,500 cabins. Much of their achievements are still around today. Here in the state of Oregon, we have Timberline Lodge on Mount Hood, which the CCC contributed to building. The CCC has become a part of FDR's legacy and is considered by most as one of the more successful relief programs. In its 9-year existence of CCC, over 3 million young men joined and participated in projects all over the United States. My dad, was one of these young men. His family suffered much of the same hardships as other Americans during the Great Depression. My grandfather was a single parent, and he lost his job as a florist in the city of Seattle. He moved himself and my dad to the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State and started a new career hunting animals for bounty. My father remembers cold nights out in the woods hunting for just about anything from skunk to cougar. Unfortunately, it was not enough. My father had so little he quit high school because he did not have proper shoes to wear. In 1937, my father was 18 when he gladly volunteered to join the CCC. My father was happy to have the opportunity to be working and receiving 3 square meals a day. The camp he was assigned to was in the Olympic National Forest, and during his time in the CCC, he served as a game checker, an auto mechanic, and a carpenter. One of the projects he participated in was the relocation of an elk herd from Washington State to the Oregon coast. The elk became known as the Roosevelt elk, and their descendants are still around today. The 18 months my father spent in the CCC was life-changing. He spoke fondly of his friends and experiences he had. Upon his discharge, he received a glowing letter of recommendation. My father was so proud to be a part of the Civilian Conservation Corps. He kept his CCC yearbook and other CCC memorabilia, including this patch. This patch was worn on the shoulder and is still recognized as the CCC logo today. The CCC came to an end in 1944 as funds were directed towards the war effort. Many of the young men in the CCC went on to serve in armed forces during the World War II. My father went on to serve in the Coast Guard. The CCC was an important part of American history and is an integral part of providing relief for struggling families during the Great Depression. The next time you visit a national park, remember the young men that worked to build that lodge, to plant that forest, and to blaze that trail.